Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I had to come back for this patch. I just had to. They introduced something I've really wanted for a long time. And as such, I guess you all could figure I had to come back. Hopefully I can bring you that content soon. I think you guys kind of know what I'm aiming for just by looking at this. So while I'm currently grinding my way to that which I am aiming for this patch, it's a certain Mitsubishi plane, so of course we have to play some Lockheed space magic. I don't know what it is about this plane. I found it very enjoyable. It's loud, it's fast. I couldn't think of anything more American if I tried, even with the Japanese roundels on it. And yes, the F104J is not correctly modeled historically. It's still missing a few things: the extended wing pylon tanks, 2 missiles. That's correct. It should have 4 sidewinders, not 2. But we all know that Gaijin loves its balancing trade-offs and using ordnance to do so. What can you do, right? Same reason it only gets AIM-9 echoes and not anything more, well, shall we say, fun. Some things about the F104 in general that need to be said going into this. It is not a plane for everybody. And those of you who have tried to fly it understand absolutely, excruciatingly what I mean by this. This thing can't turn for shit. You may have been able to guess that just by looking at the small wing surface area and the high wing load that would come about from it. And you're gonna see a lot of me struggling with that and its weird elevator and rudder authority issues and all kinds of stuff, and fighting the wonderful Mach cone effect from third person. Oh, and by the way, Fox 2. Scratch one bad guy. Now, F104 is quintessential boom and zoom. It means you find your target while you are above them, dive down on them while they're blissfully unaware, quickly engage, hopefully sending them back to hangar, and then going up, mixing and repeating. This is especially important to remember in an environment that is now teeming with those bloody British Harrier premiums. The absolute last thing you want to be doing against them is getting into low altitude turning dogfights. It's probably more deadly than doing the same thing with MiG-21 SMTs or MiG-21 BISSes. Yeah, you can see by the wonderful pile of smoke clouds in front of me. Guess what my team decided to do? Oh man, I love that cannon. Just sounds so amazing with this new patch. Like the minor tweaks to the audio files, those lovely clouds, the lighting effects. Ooh, there's so much to love about this patch. But now that you know the basic secret of the F104, and well, all of what you don't do with it, and I have no idea how that. Well, I'll take that back. At the time, I didn't know what was going on with that missile lock. It looked good. Everything looked fine. This was first day back on War Thunder's live servers. And this was before I'd come to fully realize that the server hamsters were dead. Long live the server hamsters. So yeah, that was one of those. It was on the outer edge. It should have tracked based on what I was looking at, and yeah, pardon the close encounters of a third kind with some 30mm Aidens. Alright. As before realizing just how bad it got, with the server ping, the netcode, and all that wonderful jazz, you've probably heard it from 9 times to Sunday by now. And at this moment, it is important to realize that I just went from having one teammate left to having no teammates left and 8 enemies to deal with. It is really important in these situations to make the recognition that you can no longer afford to play chivalrously. I am not above having, well, that's how we say, playing dirty, abusing my advantage, shall we say, as you're about to see. I have one advantage on every last enemy plane in this match, and that is raw speed. Yeah, Harrier could conceivably catch me up, and ooh, that was close. I'm not certain if that was me dodging at the right instant or the server code saving my ass. I don't know which. It could go either way right now. So now that I know that he's probably out of missiles at this point, I'm going to go up. I'm going to use one of the most beautiful things about the F104 frame, in that I can use the flaps at extremely high speeds to accentuate my vertical turning capability. And I use that to dodge that hunter, put some distance between him and me before he can reacquire a target and coming out of his stall trying to get me, get back on the deck, and then just open the distance. This is no great way to win games. In fact, spoiler, this one is a defeat. But it has some pretty good lessons to learn along the way. One of the things that I find... Ooh, that was a nice one. That was about maybe 20 shells. That is one of the smallest bursts in War Thunder I have ever killed someone with. Good stuff. One of the thing that I must do right now in order to have a chance at winning is long darting attacks to make certain that people have a hard time tracking me, following me, and then lastly knowing where I am. And sometimes those lines line up right over the airfields. You don't be that guy. Yeah, he didn't have much of a choice, but that was the consequence of him choosing to land there at that time. He should not have gone VTOL at any point and just gone straight forward, used the acceleration of the Harrier to just get out of dodge. Likewise, I feel sorry for this hunter. There goes his tail control. And what's that? Kill number 5. Well, we're doing much better now. We've pulled back 4 kills. That's doing pretty good. Now, at this point, I will tell you, this is a mistake. The temptation is to turn in and go after the person I see landing on that runway before that Harrier I see off, just passing by on left wing, coming back, turning around and coming there, can get a hold of me. And the reason why I'm going to tell this is a mistake is, while you can't see it on this replay screen, I don't have much fuel left. And that's not for the sake of taking low fuel or minimum fuel. That's for the sake of using that afterburner. It's one of the great strengths and weaknesses of the F104 airframe, is that afterburner eats through your fuel. Yeah, you can bring 33 minutes, but as you can probably tell by looking at the battle timer right now, that went by very quickly. And you will also notice that, yes, I destroyed that other plane on the ground, but it didn't count for a kill. Interesting. I was a little kind of annoyed at that point and took it out on this guy. Don't be that guy. VTOL is a trick. Don't rely on it. I swear, that was like the easiest Harrier kill in the world, because you're not supposed to do that. And now I'm gonna tell you, yes, this is the moment I knew I was boned. It's hard to tell in this replay there, but there's a Harrier about 6 kilometers back, and I need to come off the afterburner to have a chance at making it to the runway. That is how little fuel I have left. These types of honest conversations with oneself are really important for getting better. No, really, they are. Things I could have done to avoid this was landing earlier, while I still had teammates to throw away. Cover for the time I spent on the ground. Or... oh yeah, did it just get really quiet in here? Or is that just me? Well, I'm gonna have to try to make this landing. I don't have a choice. And at the time I was thinking, yeah, I'll land and J out. Well, you're gonna see how that goes real quick. Some things to note about the F104 in landing it. You have to land it pretty fast. It's just one of those aircraft. You could tell by the stubby wings, it needs speed to land properly. But yeah. And I will tell you right now, I held no grudges for that kill. After what I did to his teammates, I deserved it. But you're gonna notice something really interesting here. You hear that cockpit sound? It means my pilot survived. Ah. Good news. Always look for the bright things. Otherwise, you're gonna end up really, really salty in these games. We don't want salt. There's enough of it in the world right now. And that's not how we want to celebrate our coming advent. And he's putting on a little air show for the AAA gunners right now. Although that was a little painful for them. I will admit that. So, in conclusion with that gameplay, I'm going to let some B-roll kind of flow from that point here real quick while I go over some basic tips. I've got 5 pretty important tips in here. One of them I've already alluded to. The first tip that I can give you for flying the F104 is anticipating the way your enemies will vector through the combat area. And you're gonna make certain you want to call your attack early. And that means your commit to the attack or your willingness to not commit to the attack. The last thing you can do is overcommit. You overcommit, you bleed speed. Yes, you can accelerate pretty well, but you lose a lot of your ability to turn rapidly and to make the necessary maneuvers to get out of dodge. Overcommit, you die. It's like any other plane. It's just really important to remember and be disciplined with the F104. It's like your first time flying the P-51 in many respects, just with way, way, way less turning authority. My second tip, if you're not sure, just disengage, climb, go for that altitude, restore your energy state, and then pick a different vector. Go and re-engage. So long as you have teammates, this works pretty well. Even when you don't have teammates, it doesn't work too bad, to be honest. And tip number 3. Speed is love, speed is life. You have some pretty interesting handling characteristics. I'll try to plant the authorities up on the screen right now. Look for the little text box there. It should be there if I haven't completely forgotten at this point. Now, tip number 4. I've alluded to this a little bit in the gameplay. You certainly saw enough evidence of it. Your flaps are very strong on the F104. You can use them to make fast turnarounds, and you can do them really a lot faster than people are going to expect. Use that to your advantage. Learn the altitude windows for doing this and at what speeds you can do them. At most altitudes, say that a lot of people fight at, say up to about 4.5 kilometers, you'll probably be able to go combat flaps at about 950 kilometers. At higher altitudes, you can get that up to about 1,000, 1,050. But those are really high altitudes. And you're going to want to really have all that maneuverability you can get. So make certain that you do get it, because it helps up there. Lastly, and this was another one I alluded to, tip number 5. Recognize when you don't have the luxury of choice in how you fight. This is really important. If you aren't ready to strike, as you must, you will lose with 100% certainty. Yes, I didn't win this engagement, but if I had those, had the extra fuel tanks on the wingtips that this aircraft should have, I actually might have had that chance. I may have been out of missiles, but at that point, and I know it sucks because it's a replay, I had about 250, 270 rounds left. That's more than enough to deal with the 2 remaining aircraft that were flying on the enemy team. Oh well, c'est la vie. And now I just want to close out the video by thank you for watching. I would like to bid you all a wonderful start to Advent and a wonderful Christmas season to come. Peace be with you, friends, and God bless.